Welcome, friends, to another story of Peter Rabbit. Under a big fir tree root, nestled in the heart of a lush green forest, lived a family of rabbits. This family was known far and wide for their playful antics and close-knit bond. There was Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Little Peter. Each rabbit had its own unique personality, but Peter was the most adventurous of them all.
Be good little rabbits. Remember to stay close to home and out of trouble. I'm going to the bakery to get some fresh bread for dinner. I'll be back soon. Don't you dare go into Mr. McGregor's garden. It's dangerous and you know it.
Peter twitched his nose, feeling a mix of excitement and curiosity. The forbidden garden always seemed to call out to him. He was a very curious rabbit, always eager to explore new places and discover hidden treasures. While his sisters nibbled on berries, enjoying the sweet taste of the forest's bounty, Peter hopped towards the fence. His heart raced with anticipation as he got closer to the boundary of their safe haven. He wanted to see what was on the other side. The stories of Mr. McGregor's garden were too tempting to resist.
What's over there? Peter wondered aloud, his eyes wide with wonder.
Peter squeezed under the fence, feeling the rough wood against his fur. He wriggled and squirmed until he was finally through, and found himself in Mr. McGregor's garden. The sight before him was more magnificent than he had ever imagined. It was filled with delicious-looking vegetables. Rows upon rows of vibrant greens and colorful produce stretched out before him. There were carrots, lettuces, radishes, and more. Peter's tummy rumbled. He could hardly believe his luck. This was a feast fit for a king. Without a second thought, Peter began to munch on a juicy carrot. The taste was even better than he had imagined. But as he enjoyed his snack, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. His ears perked up and he looked around nervously. Suddenly, a shadow loomed over him. Peter's heart skipped a beat. He knew he had to act fast. With a burst of energy, Peter dashed through the garden, weaving between the rows of vegetables, trying to find a way out. He spotted a small gap in the fence and made a beeline for it. With one final squeeze, he was out and back in the safety of the forest. Peter panted heavily, his heart racing from the close call. He had learned his lesson, but the thrill of the adventure was something he would never forget. Reuniting with his family, Peter felt a mix of relief and excitement. He knew he would have quite the story to tell, and as they cuddled together under the big fir tree, Peter couldn't help but smile, already dreaming of his next adventure. Mr. McGregor's garden was a sight to behold. It was a paradise for any creature with a taste for fresh produce. The garden was meticulously maintained, with each plant given the care it needed to thrive. The rows were perfectly aligned, and the soil was rich and dark, promising a bountiful harvest. Rows of cabbages stood tall like green giants. Their leaves were broad and lush, creating a canopy of green that seemed to stretch endlessly. Each cabbage head was tightly packed, a testament to the care and attention they had received. Shiny red tomatoes hung from vines like tempting jewels. They glistened in the sunlight, their vibrant color a stark contrast to the green foliage. The tomatoes were plump and juicy, each one a perfect specimen of ripeness. The air was thick with the smell of fresh earth and herbs. The scent was intoxicating, a blend of basil, thyme, and rosemary that filled the senses. The herbs grew in neat rows, their leaves a vibrant green, and the soil beneath them was dark and fertile.
"This is wonderful!" Peter exclaimed, his eyes wide with delight. He had never seen such an abundance of food in one place. The garden was a treasure trove of delicious treats, and he couldn't wait to sample everything.
Peter, forgetting his mother's warning, took a big bite of a juicy radish. The radish was crisp and peppery, a burst of flavor that made his taste buds dance. He savored the taste, relishing the forbidden fruit. It was the tastiest radish he had ever tasted. The flavor was so intense, it was as if he had never truly tasted a radish before. He couldn't help but take another bite, and then another, until the radish was gone. He hopped to the next row and nibbled on a crunchy carrot. The carrot was sweet and crisp, a perfect contrast to the spicy radish. Peter's eyes lit up with joy as he chewed, the sweetness exploding in his mouth. The sweetness exploded in his mouth. It was unlike any carrot he had ever tasted. The flavor was so pure and intense, it was as if the carrot had been grown just for him. He couldn't resist taking another bite and then another until the carrot was gone.
"I've never seen so many delicious vegetables in one place," Peter marveled. The garden was a veritable feast with every kind of vegetable imaginable. There were peppers, beans, peas, and more, each one more tempting than the last.
He hopped from one row to another, sampling everything. Each bite was a new adventure, a new discovery of flavor. Peter was in heaven, surrounded by the bounty of Mr. McGregor's garden. But little did he know, trouble was just around the corner. Peter, his belly full, felt a little sleepy. He decided to find a shady spot for a nap. But just then, he heard the creaking of a door.
Someone's coming!
His heart pounded as he peeked through the leaves and saw Mr. McGregor. He was wearing a straw hat and carrying a watering can.
You get out of my garden.
Mr. McGregor ran towards Peter, waving his rake. Peter was terrified. He didn't know what to do. Peter ran as fast as his little legs could carry him. The wind whistled past his ears and his heart pounded like a drum. He could feel the ground beneath his feet, each step a desperate attempt to escape the danger that loomed behind him. The garden, once a place of curiosity and adventure, had turned into a maze of terror. Every corner he turned, every shadow he saw seemed to be a potential threat. But Peter was determined. He had to get away. He had to find safety. He dodged between rows of beans, squeezed under a fence, and felt the rough wood scrape against his fur. The scent of fresh vegetables filled the air, but Peter had no time to stop. He could hear the heavy footsteps behind him, the angry shouts growing louder. The garden was vast, but Peter knew it well. He had explored every nook and cranny, every hidden spot, but today, it felt like a trap. He had to keep moving, had to stay ahead, and hopped over a pile of stones. Each leap was a challenge, his muscles straining with the effort. The stones were slippery, and he nearly lost his footing, but he managed to stay upright. The garden seemed endless, and Peter's energy was waning. But he couldn't stop. Not now, not when he was so close to freedom.
Get back here, you pesky rabbit. The voice was filled with anger and frustration. Mr. McGregor's face was red, his eyes blazing with fury. He had had enough of Peter's antics, and he was determined to catch him this time.
Mr. McGregor was right behind him, shouting and waving his rake. The metal glinted in the sunlight, a menacing reminder of the danger Peter was in. He could feel the man's presence, the heat of his anger, and it spurred him on. He had to get away. He had to find a way out. Peter's heart pounded in his chest. Each beat was a reminder of the peril he was in. His breaths came in short, sharp gasps, his body trembling with fear. He had never felt so vulnerable, so exposed. The world around him seemed to blur, his focus solely on escaping the danger behind him. He had never been so scared in his life. The garden, once a place of joy and discovery, had become a nightmare. Every sound, every movement seemed amplified, his senses heightened by the adrenaline coursing through his veins. He had to keep going. He had to survive.
I wish I had listened to my mother. Her warnings echoed in his mind, a constant reminder of the danger he had put himself in. She had always told him to stay away from Mr. McGregor's garden, to be cautious and careful. But Peter's curiosity had gotten the better of him, and now he was paying the price. Mr. McGregor's garden is no place for a little rabbit. The vegetables, so tempting and delicious, were not worth the risk. Peter realized that now. He had to be smarter, had to learn from his mistakes. The garden was a dangerous place, and he had to respect that.
Just when Peter thought he couldn't run anymore, he saw a small hole in the hedge. It was a glimmer of hope, a chance for escape. His legs were tired, his body aching, but he pushed on. The hole seemed to grow larger as he approached, a beacon of safety in the chaos of the garden. He squeezed through it and found himself outside the garden. He was safe. The world outside the garden was calm and peaceful, a stark contrast to the chaos he had just escaped. Peter took a moment to catch his breath, his heart still racing. He had made it. He was free. The lesson was clear. Curiosity could lead to danger, but quick thinking and determination could save the day. Peter ran all the way home, without looking back. He reached the fir tree out of breath and exhausted. His sisters were playing, unaware of his adventure.
Mother, I'm so sorry.
Peter snuggled into his mother's soft fur, feeling relieved and ashamed. He told her everything, promising never to disobey her again.
Oh, Peter, I'm glad you're safe. Remember, it's important to listen to your parents. We only want what's best for you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.